I was stupid. I thought floated, and I said, "Can you get rid of it?" Oh yeah, piece of cake. 4 surgeries later, I still can't see. Yeah, I just had it done, and but it's terrible. Really. This is the first time in 6 months that I haven't had a gas bubble between my eyes. I still can't see the side. So I'll see what goes on. I may have to look away because I can see. I was like, see what goes on. Well, plus myself. 66, rather get rid of these floaters.
Yeah.
I left early and traffic was just totally backed up on this road. Like 385 forever. I figured you had some traffic.
You think? Are they all coming here?
You know, I really
Okay. Okay.
For you?
Yes, my kids never talk, so.
You read last year. You remember?
I did, yeah, I was conscripted, but that was with like 2 hours of notice, so I just read what she wrote. This time, it's
You'll
me.
do fine.
Oh, no, I'm not. Public speaking is not something.
I was just gonna say, I'm guessing you have to do plenty
Oh,
of
yeah,
that
I
all
know.
the time, even if it wasn't about this.
Yeah. Rarely did I have it was mine, but that's
You have to think about it as though that's not what you're doing.
that's it. This is my only productivity. So you're gonna have me looking over your shoulder.
Okay.
And you have enough light, that's
Yeah.
good.
Given our heights, I'm not sure who's looking over what. But we don't,
I'm always tempted to avail myself of this assist.
it's a comfortable footrest.
Good Yontif to you and to you as
Oh,
well.
tell us
Got
a
the
bit about
came back for more. It's true. It's much more pleasant now, isn't it? Yeah, we're gonna complain it's cold pretty soon, actually. What do you have? Oh my gosh, the Three Stooges. Okay. Little. Really, it's the opposite. I think about it as the opposite. By the time we get to tomorrow, we're like, oh, good. I know. Either way, we're happy. I agree with you. Yeah. All right, we got to get rocking. Where's our president? All of our president. No, he's here. It's all the rest of them to hold. All the ones holding stuff. You're here. All right, let me go see how we're doing in the back there.
Is anybody still without power? Everybody's got power. Do you have Spectrum?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me see if anyone's coming in. We got to get rocking.
Very.
Yeah, that's the death by 1,000 cuts. That's yeah.
Yeah.
I have APC. So do we. We never lost. Yeah, we had TV, cable,
Well, I mean,
everything.
I was
I
out
could watch all the
when
baseball
the
games.
storm. We were out for 2 days, and then I was back.
Our area.
All right. If you are a past president holding a Torah, please come on up. We'll get you up here going in a minute. So I hear traffic was not fun today. Maybe that's where people are. Everybody can come up, to be honest with you, or not. Either way you want to do it. So we are good either way. All right, we're going to let me check out back here.
So I think I'm in the third. So you get ahead of me. Are you number 3? Traffic. We were coming down. I think Fran coming in. Everybody comes.
Yeah, that wasn't still. If she's got anything.
Oh.
You're not that supposed to be here.
We're going to clean shop over.
Harry's maybe or something.
Harry was here.
He's only gonna come up here when it's his turn. Okay, so he's here though, that's
No,
it.
they weren't all here.
We're just waiting. Richard's right there.
Harry.
I don't think he
Harry.
was gonna be a sub,
Harry.
but then we got other presidents.
No, no.
Harry,
Fred,
listen to Barry. Just listen to
I'm
Barry.
older than you.
He still can't hear.
Just listen to Barry.
Richard Zander was supposed to be up here.
Fred will be here.
I'm in the last
It
round.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm in the last one too, so it's you and me and somebody else. I can't remember who else.
There's two others.
Is it four? There's three.
You can hand
There's
us,
two
you
more.
can
I
hand
was
us.
supposed to be here. Mindy is gone. Freddie left. Freddie coming.
So I'm in the back with you.
Jewish
It has to be
Standard Time.
before sundown.
Oh, it's not Sunday. Why I'm wearing a winter. I think so. Richard.
There you go. That's smart. Well, maybe Levy killed him.
Mindy Levy's out of town. What about Freddie? What about Freddie?
No, we're going to miss sundown. So we're going to rock it. I'm watching people coming in. I understand the traffic is Friday afternoon traffic. We forgot to account for the Friday afternoon traffic, I think. But we're going to go ahead and get going. See what we can do. So we are here on the eve of Yom Kippur, of course. And it's a little bit more normal than when we left the sanctuary on Rosh Hashanah and Shabbat, for that matter. We had a Shabbat service also on Saturday morning, and we were still with spotlights and fans and other things. But I think we're quite fortunate as we look south at our friends who just got hit by Milton. Yeah, to know that we are happy that we are here tonight together, as we were for Rosh Hashanah. We were here, but albeit a little bit more pleasant conditions, a little less schwitzy, and certainly, I hope, ready to engage in our 24-hour fast or 25-hour fast, depending on how long you're fasting and when we finally get to eat. But also in a time to be able to connect with one another without the surus, if you will, of Rosh Hashanah this year. So regardless of that, we have been talking about tshuva for the last number of weeks, about changing our perspective on life, about making amends for our wrongdoings, about improving ourselves so the world will be that much better. And now is time we can't talk about it anymore. We can't make promises only to break them later on, and we can no longer put off that which we know we should be doing in life. So tonight we're going to stand together in just a moment, B'yeshiva Shel Ma'ala, which means by the authority of the Beit Din, the heavenly court of God, and we'll stand together B'yeshivat Shel Mata, by the authority of the earthly court, meaning all of us as community. And we will cry Kol Nidre. We will hear those words 3 times, actually. All the vows we take, all the promises and the obligations we made to God between last Yom Kippur and this Yom Kippur, we publicly retract, we take away, we say we're sorry for. And should we forget the vows that we take, may we be absolved of them. But we know that this is just one step in our process of atonement and renewal. We know this is Shabbat Shabbaton, and I like to say, since it's Friday night and it is Saturday, it is Shabbat itself. This is Shabbat Shabbaton. It's the holy of holy days. And it's one of rest that gives us an opportunity to say we're sorry for the mistakes we've made. We recognize that the heavenly court has no jurisdiction, however, on the mistakes we make here on earth to one another. Our task of continuing to say we're sorry, to ask for forgiveness, to those with whom we love, those with whom we have share this space in the world, that task continues as well. So in a moment, we're going to stand as a community of individuals before God and hear the Kol Nidre prayer, singing those same words that our ancestors have recited for generations. And I pray that the words and the melody deepen our sensitivity towards the resolutions which we make in our finest moments of spiritual decision. Through resolute will and self-discipline, through vision and strength and hope, we pray that we can lessen the distance between what we are and what we know we ought to be. So I'll ask if you're able to, as we open the Aron HaKodesh and take the 4 Sifrei Torah from the Aron, that you'll, if you're able to rise and turn to page 204.
How many past presidents to take out a Torah? Yes. Shiva shel mala, Shiva shel mata, al dat makom, ve'al dat hakal, anu matirim, leitpalel im havayanim. Shiva shel mala, Shiva shel mata, al dat makom, ve'al dat hakal, anu mitirim, leitpalel im havaryanim. Shiva shel mala, Shiva shel mata, al dat makom, ve'al dat hakal, anu matirim, leitpalel im ha'avrayanim. Kol nidre, v'yesarei, v'charamei, v'konamei, v'chinuye, v'kinusei, Shavuot, Dinarana, Ureish tabana, Uriacharimna, Uriahasana, Al nafshatana, Miyom Kippurim zeh, Ad Yom Kippurim haba aleinu, haba aleinu letova. Kulhon icharotna v'hom, Kulhon yahon sheran, shavikin, shavitin, betelem uvutalim, lasharirim, velakayamin, u'anederana, la nidre, v'yesarana, lo esare, u'shavuatana, la shavuot. Ve'esarei, V'charomei, V'ekonomei, V'chinuyei, V'kinusei, Shavuot, Din Dareno, Urish Tabana, Uriacharibna, Uriasarna, Al Nafshatana, Miyom Kippurim Zeh, Ariyom Kippurim, Habaleinu, Habaleinu, Letova, Kulon, Icharot Navahon, Kolon Yod Shiron, Shavikin, Shavitin, Betelin and Vutalim, Lo Sharirim, Velakayamin, Uhanidrena, La Nidre, Viasarana, Lo Esare, Ushavuatana, La Shavuot. Kol Nidre, Ve'esarei, V'charomei, V'ekonomei, V'chinuyei, V'kinusei, Shavuot, Din Darena, Urish Tabana, Uriacharibna, Urasarana, Al Nafshatana, Miyom Kippurim Zeh, Ariyom Kippurim, Haba Aleinu, Haba Aleinu, Letova, Kulon, Icharat Navahon, Kolon Yehon Sheron, Shavikin, Shavitin, Betelin Vutalim, La Sharirim Velakayamin, Uaniderana, La Nidre, Yesarana, Lo Esare, Ushavuatana, La Shavuot. V'nislach lechol adat b'nei Yisrael, v'lager hagar b'tocham, ki lechol am b'ishgaga. V'nislach lechol adat b'nei Yisrael, v'lager hagar b'tocham, ki lechol am b'ishgaga. V'nislach lechol adat b'nei Yisrael, v'lager hagar b'tocham, ki lechol ha'am b'ishgaga. Selach na levon ha'am hazeh, kegodel chasdecha, v'asher nasata le'am hazeh mimitzrayim, v'yadhena v'sham nemar. Vayomer Adonai salachti kidvarecha. Vayomer Adonai salachti kidvarecha. Vayomer Adonai salachti kidvarecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
As we return the Torah scrolls to the Aron HaKodesh, once they're in, you're welcome to be seated.
Finished yet? I'll show for it now and we'll be done.
As the Aron HaKodesh is closed, you're welcome to be seated. It is Shabbat, as I mentioned, and that means that throughout the holiday, we add some things and we take away some familiar things as well. So on 206, you'll find the special psalm for Shabbat, followed by the psalm for Friday below it. Again, page 206.
Tzadik ata yifrach ki erez balvanon yizkeh shetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvon beseva Deshenim raninim yiyu lehagid ki ashar Adonai tzori tzori velo havlatabo.
We read in the English Psalm 93 together on the bottom of 206. Adonai is sovereign, robed in splendor, girded in strength. Surely the earth stands firm, it will not be shaken. Your kingdom stands from earliest time, you are eternal. The rivers rise to you, Adonai. The rivers raise their voices, the rivers raise up their waves. From the roaring of the deep, of the mighty breakers of the sea, Adonai is supreme. Your teaching, Adonai, never fails. Holiness befits your house, Adonai, until the end of time.
Edotecha namu miot levetecha nava kadosh Adonai leorech yamim.
You'll kindly turn towards to 247, those reciting Kaddish Tome, the Mourner's Kaddish. Again, you'll find it on 247, and you're welcome to rise and join with me, those reciting. 247. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Bialma divrach yirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala ubizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach leolam olomei omaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha v'richu. Le'ela, mikol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Amen. You are welcome to be seated. There's a story which I might have shared a couple of years ago. I'm not sure, so if it sounds familiar, my apologies. But there's a story of a rabbi who was very preoccupied with thoughts of how he was going to ask the congregation to come up with more money than they were expecting for repairs to the shul building. Very familiar thoughts amongst rabbis in the world today. Therefore, he was annoyed to find that the regular cantor was sick, and a substitute had been brought in at the last minute. The substitute Chazan wanted to know which selections of tefillah, which selections from the Masor, from the prayer book, to chant, and which not to chant. And he also asked which melodies to sing, etc. Here's a copy of the service, the rabbi said impatiently, but you'll have to think of something to sing after I make the appeal announcement about the finances. During the service, the rabbi paused and said, "My worthy congregants, brothers and sisters, we are in great difficulty. The roof repairs cost twice as much as we expected, and we need $14,000 more than we have allocated. Any of you who can pledge $100 or more, please stand up." At that moment, the substitute Chazan, the cantor, started singing, "Oh, say, can you see?" And that is how the substitute cantor became the permanent cantor. We know that it does indeed take much to create a community and a building, a facility, the programs, the things that we do to make that community feel at home, just as we have homes, our own homes. This is our spiritual home, and it is at this time that I call upon President Michael Kraus, who is basically, hate to put it this way, in charge of our spiritual home here this past year, going through as he's become his term back in the summer. And it has, for my part, been a pleasure to work with him as we've moved forward. So I will give you Michael Kraus.
The pleasure and the honor is all mine, Rabbi. It's Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova, Gemar Chatima Tova. It's good to see so many of you here tonight. I hope everybody is recovered from Helene as much as possible. My sympathies to those of you who have Spectrum, and my hope is that we'll all be connected very soon. So this rabbi, congregational president, and member of the congregation, we're all flying to a conference in Rio de Janeiro when their plane crashed in the Amazon, over the Amazon jungle. The good news is they survived the crash. The bad news is they were captured by cannibals. The cannibals told them, "We are going to kill you, and we are going to eat you, but we're not unreasonable people, so we'll give each one of you one final wish." So the synagogue president said, "I've been working on my Kol Nidre appeal speech for weeks now. I have it with me. It's only an hour long. Please, I'd like to deliver it before I die." And the rabbi said, "I've been working on my sermons for Yom Kippur and Sukkot for months now. I have them with me. They're each 2 hours long. Please, I'd like to deliver them out loud before I die." The congregational member said, "Just kill me now." I promise that it's not going to be an hour. And I hope you want to be killed and consumed before I'm done. It should come as no surprise that tonight I've got a goal of raising money for our congregation, but mostly I want to hone in on the main reason why I believe that you should give this money. And that reason is, I want you to be happy. There's an old saying that you cannot force another person to be happy. I can't make you happy, but being a law professor, what I can do is tell you about some tools that academics have discovered that contribute to your happiness. First, let me set the stage. This past spring, a report came out, as it does every year. It's called the World Happiness Report. There is such a thing. The news was not good for the United States. It showed that for 2 decades, happiness has been decreasing in the US, even as our monetary wealth has been increasing. This year, we dropped from the 15th happiest country on average to the 23rd most happy country in the world. And the 2 main drivers of America's decline were, first, the loss of a sense of community, and second, loneliness. American respondents ranked 25th in the world, even worse, when it came to those who said they could rely on somebody in times of trouble. So, are you feeling more connected to others than in the past, or is it the case that you are feeling more connected to your electronic device? A study from way back in 1998 shows that increasing technology use is accompanied by increasing rates of depression and loneliness, and decreasing rates of the size of one's social circles. Of course, our use of technology has hugely increased since 1998, so the problem has obviously worsened since then. Before I discuss the solution to the problem, I should define happiness. Happiness is not the same as pleasure. Pleasure is the feeling I get when I eat a piece of Dove milk chocolate. It's superficial, it's an escape, it's fleeting. Happiness is much more internal, deeper than pleasure. In Oprah Winfrey's book, Build the Life You Want, The Art and Science of Getting Happier, she defines happiness as purpose, satisfaction, and enjoyment. Purpose gives you, this is from Oprah Winfrey, purpose gives you direction, a goal to strive for, a peak to climb, something to aspire to. Satisfaction is that feeling you get when you achieve that purpose. You know that you aspire to something meaningful, not ephemeral, and that you have succeeded at it. Enjoyment is the sense of gladness you get when doing something that aligns your values with your actions. Mahatma Gandhi said, happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. All of these together, purpose, satisfaction, and enjoyment, create happiness. So, Americans are not as happy as we used to be. But how do we achieve more happiness? There are solutions. Many studies have shown that family, work, faith, and friendship are the pillars to build happiness. The United States may be 23rd, but Israel is the 5th happiest country in the study, despite constant threats against the Jewish state by genocidal maniacs. Israelis are significantly happier than Americans, mainly because Israelis have deeper connections to what I just mentioned: family, work, faith, and friendship. First is family, about which I shall have the least to say because it's very complicated. As we all know, many relatives bring us joy by coming to our house, and some relatives bring us joy when they leave our house. So, one small piece of advice is to foster better relationships with your family if you can. Each family is unique. I can't give you much advice there. What I can help you with is the rest: work, faith, and friendship. For each of those can be found here at Beth Israel. Work first. Putting forth work requires getting out of your comfort zone. For a time, shortly after Cynthia and I, my wife and I, moved here, for a time here at Beth Israel, I drove a disabled member home to his assisted living facility in the city of Anderson after Saturday services. We live 25 miles from Anderson, so frankly, it was a schlep. We chatted in the car, though, eventually. I didn't know him at all at the start. We ended up chatting in the car about his military service. We chatted about the Chicago Cubs, his hometown team. We chatted about the decline and fall of baseball through the designated hitter rule. And we chatted about the crooked road we all take in life. It took lots of time, but this work gave me purpose, and yes, it gave me happiness. There are so many opportunities for work here at Beth Israel that could give you the same rewards. You could be the smiling face that ensures that there's always a minion and somebody to greet people as they come through the door. You could be on the membership committee to help welcome newcomers to Greenville. You could join the building committee that helps maintain the grounds. You can help build the sukkah next week. There are opportunities to become involved with Tikkun Olam through the Social Action Committee, by organizing a food drive or a blood drive, or by making lunches for Meals on Wheels. You could work with the Sisterhood or the Men's Club or the kitchen cooking. Taking the time to work on a Beth Israel project helps others, but the rewards come back to you just as strong. The older I get, the more I realize that the greatest commodity I have is time. Time is very precious and should be given to things that are worthwhile. What is more worthwhile than happiness through helping others? Next, faith. Your faith is demonstrated, of course, by your presence here tonight. So here's a crazy idea. How about becoming a more regular attendee? Studies have shown that having religion in your life lowers depression and other health disorders, that people who attend services once a week live on average 7 years longer, and that having religious beliefs correlates to having a purpose in life, one of the building blocks of happiness. When Cynthia and I moved here 7 years ago, we started attending Saturday morning services. We were not used to doing this, and my Hebrew was crappy, so I was totally out of my comfort zone. But over time, I found the camaraderie of interacting with other attendees in tefillah a welcome interaction that I had been missing back in Maryland. I have discovered that taking time to pray centers me through the week. You could try it out on Friday nights or on Saturdays. You will be welcomed, and your lack of knowledge will never be held against you, I promise. Third, friendship. On Shabbat morning, Cynthia and I are often among the last to leave after Kiddush. You have to experience a Beth Israel Kiddush to see the friendliness of the interaction. Just by being present on a regular basis, I've developed relationships with lots of people I never would have expected. I've made friends, good friends, many of whom I see in the audience today. I won't name you, you know who you are. Thank you for blessing my life with your friendship. That's hard to do in adult life. It's estimated that Americans have fewer friends than ever before. You've probably read or heard about the famous book called Bowling Alone, which discusses this issue. Many of the friends we do have are transactional or business-type acquaintances. By attending activities at Beth Israel, I have found true friendships that are now years old. These friendships bring happiness, not just pleasure. Anne Frank wrote, "Whoever is happy will make others happy too." I contend that giving somebody friendship and helping them become happy will make you happy, and that eventually that will make the whole world a slightly happier place. Being a friend is what one president called being one of the 1,000 points of light. By attending to family, work, and friendship and faith, you can create happiness. In this world where we feel so disconnected, Beth Israel offers a place to do this. The opportunity is here for you now. And now I come to my ask. Only about half of our operating income comes from annual dues that you pay. Think about that. A bit more than half of our income, of the money we need to operate, comes from annual dues. I can assure you that your board at Beth Israel has been very good about stretching every dollar and applying for every grant that's available, and that's allowed us not to raise dues for the past few years despite inflation. Our second source of fund is from our endowment, from which we are only legally allowed to take 7% each year to pay for day-to-day expenses. The rest is our rainy day fund in case of a catastrophe. We are very fortunate to have that rainy day fund, and the 7% income has allowed us to keep dues stable. Those are our two greatest sources of income, and our third source of income, our third largest source every year, is this High Holy Day appeal. I am asking you tonight, I am beseeching you to donate so that we can have the programs I mentioned and many more that I did not mention that support you and others in achieving happiness. Beth Israel is a community designed to support you, its members. I really want y'all to participate in the community and to receive the support that is there. This has the potential to improve your happiness and your longevity. Closing word about longevity. Beginning on Rosh Hashanah and concluding on Yom Kippur, of course, we pray to be inscribed in the Book of Life. Another trip around the sun does sound better than the alternative. But life is much more than longevity, isn't it? A full life is one filled with purpose and satisfaction, family, work, faith, and friends. With your financial help, as generous as you can do it, Beth Israel can continue to provide the building blocks of happiness for those interested in stepping out of their comfort zone and seizing the day. Members of the board, I see you. Would you now please stand up and circulate and collect the donation cards that all of y'all were given when you arrived. You also should have received these cards by mail. If you've not already mailed in your pledge card, please look at the card and fold down the most generous donation you can afford and put the card in the envelope and seal it and hand it to the ushers as they walk around. Please remember what you gave last year and consider adding something additional for this year. For those watching online, we do have people watching. Are there people watching? For those watching online, please mail in your pledge cards. Thank you for your attention. Gamar Chatzima Tova. I wish you all an easy fast. I hope you're sealed in the book of life and in the book of happiness. Thank you.
As we move about a bit, I'll share with you as we go into the formal part of the evening service, and I thank Michael Kraus for his words and for reminding us about what happiness really is. It was an important message to hear, I think, especially at this time and place, and appreciate your words of wisdom. So there's a story of two men. One, a university professor, an able physicist, and the other, an intelligent and deeply religious farmer. They met at a party. And in the course of their conversation, which had turned to religion, the professor said to the farmer, "But how can you be so sure of the existence of God? And if God is so real to you, perhaps you can explain something about God's mystery." "Well," answered the farmer, "I'm not as informed about religious matters as I wish I were, but I do very definitely believe in God. As you know, I am a farmer, and that's what I know most about." And noticing a few slices of watermelon on the table nearby, he directed the attention of the professor to them and continued, "Have you ever observed the watermelon seed?" "I have. It has the power of drawing from the ground and through itself 200,000 times its weight. And when you can tell me how it takes this material and out of its colors and outside surface beyond the imitation of art, and then forms inside of it a white rind and within again a red heart, thickly inlaid with black seeds, each one of which in turn is capable of drawing through itself 200,000 times its weight, when you can explain to me the mystery of a watermelon, you can ask me to explain the mystery of God." It's a wonderful reminder of the mystery of creation, of the natural world around us and the gifts that we have. And that's the themes of the evening service, this first part of the evening service, the cycles of nature, the world around us, the appreciation we should show for the gifts that certainly surround us, even the very lowly watermelon seed. Page 207, you will find the formal beginning of our evening service with the blessings of creation and the evening light. I'll ask if you're able to rise. Page 207.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated. We read together the bottom of 207, this first bracha of creation. Baruch atah Adonai, our God, ruler of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's division, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from light, who makes day pass into night, who distinguishes day from night. Adonai Tzevaot is your name, living and ever-present God. May your rule be with us forever and ever. Baruch atah Adonai, who brings each evening's dusk.
Umavir yom umevi laila, mavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai Tzevaot Shemo, El Chai v'Kayam, Tamid limloch le'olam voed, Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Aravim.
208.
כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Middle of 208, we join together.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivot, Malchuto, Leolam Voed. V'ahavta et Adonai Eloheinu. בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך ובביתך ולכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, ובשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך.
We read together the V'ahavta in the English, the bottom of 208. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all that is yours. These words that I command you this day shall be taken to heart. Teach them again and again to your children. Speak of them when you sit in your home, when you walk on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand and as a symbol above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes and on your gates. We continue silently, 209. Middle of 209, you'll find the Vayomer paragraph, the paragraph from the book of Numbers, reminds us about wearing the tzitzit, the knotted fringes on the corners of the talit. This service is unique in that we generally do not wear the talit on the evening and an evening. We wear it during the day where we can literally see those tzitzit. We can look upon them as a reminder. So today the talit is a bit different. It is really, in essence, a shroud. It is often seen as a parallel to our burial shrouds that remind us of this day as a day truly of life and death. And when we look upon the tzitzit, we remind ourselves that our vehicle to life is those mitzvot. The mitzvot that we do together, those things that we can do to make the world a better place, and most certainly the acts we can take to and the values we can share with one another that make each of us better human beings. So we join together in the biblical instruction to wear the tzitzit, that talit, the middle of 209. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el bnei Yisrael, v'amarta alehem, v'yasu lahem tzitzit, al kanfei bigdehem lidorotam, v'natnu al tzitzit, hakanaf b'til techelet, v'haya lachem litzitzit, Uritem oto, uzchartem et kol mitzvot Adonai, va'asitem otam, v'lo taturu, acharei levavchem, v'acharei nechem, asher atem zonim achareihem, leman tizkiru, va'asitem et kol mitzvotai, V'tem kedoshim le'Elohechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'Elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem.
Adonai Elohechem emet.
We turn on over to page 210 by the arrow.
Umalchuto v'ratzon kibla lechem, Moshe u'miyamu v'nei Yisrael, lechanu shira v'simcha rabba v'imeru kulam. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot osef ele, malchutecha ra'uvanecha, bokei ayam lifnei Moshe, zeli anu v'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam vo'ed. V'ne'emar ki v'adonai et Yaakov, galo miyad chazak mimenu, baruch atah Adonai, gal Yisrael.
Page 211, you'll find Hashkivenu, our prayer that asks for a sense of shalom, asks for peace as we end our day and as we hope for a brighter tomorrow. We read responsively page 211. Allow us, Adonai, our God, to sleep peacefully and to awaken again to life, our sovereign. Over us, your
canopy of peace.
Shield us, remove from us enemies and pestilence, sword, starvation, and sorrow, and remove the evil forces that surround us.
Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you, God, watch over and deliver us.
And you are
Sovereign, merciful, and compassionate.
Ensure our going and coming for life and peace, now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Together, Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us and over all the people Israel and over Jerusalem.
Ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha, Baruch atah Adonai, hapore sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Page 212, we rise as we add Vishamru for Shabbat, recognizing again it is Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbaton. It is Shabbat as well as Yom Kippur. We join together Vishamru.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ביום הזה יכפר עליכם, לטהר אתכם מכל עתותיכם, לפני אדוני תטהרו.
We read the middle of 2:12 on the left. For on this day atonement shall be made for you to purify you from all your transgressions. In the presence of Adonai you shall be pure. We remain standing for Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ויעמד יברח חירותי וימלך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון וחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב במהרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר עמם, יתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה, ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו. לעילה לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמין רעמה וימהרו, אמן.
You'll find the silent Amidah for this evening, beginning page 213, continuing through 223. As always, feel free, for 221. As always, feel free to use this time for your own personal thoughts and meditations. When you're through, you're welcome to be seated.
Got it.
Bottom of 221.
Ose shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'maru, v'maru, amen. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. V'maru, amen.
Page 222, you'll find our paragraphs that we add for our celebration of Shabbat. It is indeed, again, Shabbat as well as Yom Kippur. And we add the prayers that remind us to delight in Shabbat, to be a part of our heritage and our ancestry celebrating Shabbat. So page 222 at the top.
ויחול השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויכל אלוהים ליום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי יקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים ולעשות. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'lei avotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rechel, v'Elohei Leah ha'el, Hagadol ha'gibor v'hanara el elyon, konei shamayim v'aretz. Magen Avot bidvaro, Mechaye Meitim b'mamaro, HaMelech HaKadosh she'ein kemohu, HaMeniach li'amo, v'yom Shabbat kodsho, Kivam ratza lehaniach lahem, Kivam ratza leaniach lahem, lefanav navod, b'yira v'fachad, v'nodeh lishmo b'chol yom tamid, me'on habarachot, el haodot, Adon HaShalom, Mekadesh HaShabbat, Umevarech Shavi, Umeniach B'Kedusha, Le'amikdush Ne'oneg, Zecher, Lemase V'Reishit.
We join together in the English, the bottom of 222, the Eloheinu paragraph. Our God and God of our ancestors, embrace our rest. Make us holy through your mitzvot, and let the Torah be our portion. Fill our lives with your goodness and gladden us with your triumph. Purify our hearts to serve you faithfully. Adonai, our God, grant that we inherit your holy Shabbat lovingly and willingly, so that the people Israel will sanctify your name, may find rest on this day. Baruch atah Adonai, who makes Shabbat holy. Amen. We come to the central part of our poetry, and each of the 5 services of Yom Kippur includes a section of piyutim, of poems and readings that call upon God's presence, asking God to listen to our prayers, to hear our words of omission, of admission, and our resolve to do better in the year ahead. This first piyut on page 223, Ya'aleh, is written in the form of an inverted acrostic. And it's really a moving expression of faith in the ability to be close to God. And you can see the how it is set up as a piece of poetry, even in our Machzor. And as Yom Kippur moves from dusk to dawn and back to dusk again, we pray that we may sense God's presence and that God may hear our prayers, and most certainly that we hear our prayers as well. So page 223, Allison, if you'll come on up to open the Aron HaKodesh as we take part in this beautiful piyut of the day unfolding. Page 223, we rise.
Yale tachnunenu me'erev v'yavo shavatenu miboker v'yera rinunenu ad arev v'yera rinunenu ad arev Yale Yale kleinu me'erev v'yavo tzidkatenu miboker v'yera fidyonenu ad arev v'yera fidyonenu ad arev Yale inunenu me'erev v'yavo slichatenu miboker v'yera nakatenu ad arev v'yera nakatenu ad arev.
We read in the English responsively on 223, may our supplications rise up at evening, our pleas arrive with the dawn, our songs transform the dusk. May our voices rise up at evening, our righteous acts arrive with the dawn, our redemption transform the dusk. May our suffering rise up at evening, our forgiveness arrive with the dawn, and our purity transform the dusk. May our rivers rise up at the evening, coming to you with the dawn, transforming us at dusk. To the bottom in the Hebrew on 223.
Yale dafkenu me'erev v'yavo gilenu miboker v'yera bakashatenu ad arev v'yera bakashatanu me'ad arev Yale enkatenu me'erev v'yavo elecha miboker v'yera eleinu ad arev v'yera eleinu ad arev.
As the Aron HaKodesh is closed, you are welcome to be seated. We turn over to page 225, right in the sort of the middle, Darkecha, after the red print.
Darkecha Eloheinu la'arich apecha l'ra'in u'letovim v'hi te'ilatecha Leman Eloheinu aseh v'lo lanu Rei amidatenu dalin v'reikim Tale aruch aliyale nidaf Tinechem תשליכתנו ותחון ממעשיך תרקיעניש עשה עמנו צדקה.
A little boy was overheard talking to himself as he strode through his backyard, baseball cap in place and toting ball and bat. This is in honor of all of you baseball fans who are in the midst of watching playoffs and upcoming World Series. The boy said, "I'm the greatest baseball player in the world." Then he tossed the ball in the air, swung, and missed. Undaunted, he picked up the ball, threw it into the air, and said to himself, "I am the greatest baseball player ever." He swung at the ball again, and again he missed. You know the story. He paused a moment to examine bat and ball carefully. And then once again, he threw the ball in the air and said, "I am the greatest baseball player who ever lived." He swung the bat hard, and again he missed the ball. "Wow," he exclaimed, "what a pitcher!"
Sorry.
It's a delay. That was for you, Richard. I like that one. A small child was drawing a picture, and his teacher said, "That's an interesting picture. Tell me about it." "It's a picture of God. But nobody knows what God looks like." "They will when I get done." We don't have a physical picture of God, despite the fact that our Siddur and our Torah often think of or portray God in anthropomorphic terms. We really don't have a physical picture of God, but we do have a clear picture of God's qualities of character. It's the quality of character of saying, you know what? I may not be a batter, but maybe I'm a good pitcher, right? It's the qualities of compassion and of patience, especially patience with oneself, of kindness to others and to oneself, and to the world around us, of loyalty and of love that we strive to emulate as beings created in the divine image. So on page 226, you will see the arrow right in the middle as we come to one of the central parts of our worship, which indeed is the Shlosh Esrei Midot, the 13 attributes of divinity. And it reminds us that we may not be perfect, we may not be the greatest player ever, but the effort that we give to making ourselves better, the effort that we give to following God's ways of patience and kindness and loyalty and love and compassion, those are the things that will make the world a better place, and in essence, making us better human beings as well. So we turn to, again, 226 by the arrow. I know it's a lot of up and down. I'm going to let you sit as much as possible, and by tomorrow afternoon, you'll be thankful that you sat as much as you did. Page 226, we rise as we prepare to recite the Shlosh Esrei Midot, the 13 attributes of divinity that we strive to emulate.
Tavor al pesha v'timche asham, kayom v'yityatzef imosham, tazin shavtenu, v'takshiv menu ma'amar, kayom v'yikra, v'shem Adonai, v'yavor Adonai, al panav v'yikra. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim, V'Rav Chesed v'Yemet, Noseh Chesed le'alafim, Noseh Avon v'Fesha, V'Chata v'Nakeh. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim, V'Rav Chesed v'Yemet, Noseh Chesed le'alafim, Noseh Avon v'Fesha, V'Chata v'Nakeh. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim, ורב חסד ויאמת, נוצר חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע, וחטא ונקה, וסלחת לעווננו ולחטאתנו ונחלתנו. סלח לנו אבינו כי חטאנו, מחל לנו מלכנו כי פשענו, כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח, ורב חסד לכל קוראך.
We read the bottom of 226. Forgive us, our Creator, for we have sinned. Pardon us, our Sovereign, for we have transgressed. For you, Adonai, are kind and forgiving. You act generously to all on who call on you. We turn forward to page 227. You're welcome to be seated for just a moment if you wish. This Ki Hine Kachomer, it is a beautiful prayer in the imagery. You see the clay in the hand of the potter, the stone in the hand of the mason, the iron in the hand of the blacksmith. It is a beautiful piece of poetry that reminds us of our relationship to God. And essential to all Jewish theological viewpoints is this covenantal relationship between God and the Jewish people, of course, established in the days of the Torah and the Bible and continuing to our day. And in this Ki Hine Kachomer, this prayer, we recite the refrain. You see it in the bold print, Labrit habeit v'al tefen la yetzer. Really, it says, recall your covenant and forgive us. Rabbi Art Green defines the covenant between God and Israel in a very special way. To him, covenant is a commitment to keeping faith with the deepest self that is within us. He writes, it is a decision to live in such a way that allows God to be revealed to others through us. Covenant is our willingness to be a channel, to serve as a conduit of God's presence to those with whom we live. It's with this special understanding of covenant that we move to this beautiful piyut on page 227. Danny, if you'll come forward and open the Aron HaKodesh for this piyut. The custom is to rise with the Aron open as we again see the imagery of our relationship with God as our divine parent, as our creator. 227.
כי נכך אומר ביד היוצר, ברצותו מרחיב וברצותו מקצר, כן אנחנו בידך חסד נוצר. לברית הבית ואל תפן ליצר, כי הנה כאבן ביד המסתת, ברצותו אוחז וברצותו מחטט, כן אנחנו בידך חיה וממוטט. לברית הבית ואל תפן ליצר.
The second stanza from the bottom, again on the bottom of 227.
כי הנה קריאה ביד הרוקם, ברצותו מיישר וברצותו מעקם, כן אנחנו בידך אין כעונד ונוקם. לברית הבית ואל תפן ליצר, כי הנה ככסף ביד הצורף, ברצותו משגשג וברצותו מצרף, כן אנחנו בידך ממצית למזור טרף. לברית הבית ואל תפן ליצר.
As the Aron HaKodesh is closed, you may be seated. We turn over to page 233. For the third piyut in our section here, Shema Kolenu, very ancient prayer. There's a wonderful prayer that was written by an anonymous writer who wrote, Dear God, hear my prayer. So far today, I've done all right. I haven't gossiped. I haven't lost my temper. I haven't been greedy or grumpy or nasty or selfish or overindulgent. I'm really glad about that. But in a few minutes, God, I'm going to get out of bed. And from then on, I'm probably going to need a lot more help. Shema Kolenu is a tefillah that asks for God to hear our prayer, but for us to hear our own voice too. It helps us certainly to think about drawing closer to God in the godliness that has been implanted in all of us. It's a refrain, again, Shema is not just to hear, but to listen. It requires us to be active, just like the Shema Yisrael we recite. We have to be active in listening to the world around us, in listening for the still small voice of God, and in God hearing our voices as well. Nate, if you'll come forward, page 233, you will find Shema Kolenu as we repeat the refrain, or repeat the verses as Barry leads us, as the Aron HaKodesh is once again opened.
Shema Kolenu Adonai Eloheinu Chus v'rachem aleinu v'kabel b'rachamim ratzon et tefilatenu.
Shema Kolenu Adonai Eloheinu Chus v'rachem aleinu v'kabel b'rachamim ratzon et tefilatenu.
Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva chadesh yameinu kekedem.
Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva chadesh yameinu kekedem.
Al tashlichenu milfanecha v'ruach kodshech al tikach mimenu.
Al tashlichenu milfanecha v'ruach kodshech al tikach mimenu.
Al tashlichenu li'et zikna kechlot chochenu al tazvenu.
Al tashlichenu li'et zikna kichlot kochenu al ta'azvenu. As the Aron HaKodesh is closed, you're welcome to be seated. Page 234, you'll find Ki Anu Amecha as we join together.
Eloheinu v'levoteinu selach lanu v'chal lanu kaper lanu ki anu amecha v'ata Eloheinu anu vanecha v'ata avinu anu avadecha v'ata Adonenu anu kehalecha v'ata chelkeinu anu nachalatecha v'ata goraleinu anu tzonecha v'ata roeinu anu charmecha v'ata notreinu anu fa'ulatecha v'ata yotreinu anu raitecha v'ata dodeinu anu sagulatecha v'ata keroveinu anu amecha v'ata malkeinu anu mamirecha v'ata mamireinu. 10 times during Yom Kippur, we raise our hands to our hearts
and we recite the Ashamnu and the Al-Khait. We do it together, out loud, and we do it silently, alone, in the Amidah in particular. And these are, of course, our prayers confessing our trespasses, the times that we have simply missed the mark. The Ashamnu is more than just a confessional. It is the time that we have to look at ourselves as individuals and as a community and make the commitment to change. God is there to help us in our struggle to do tshuva, to be the best we can, but it's up to us to make the difference for ourselves. After a long, hard climb up the mountain, spiritual seekers finally found themselves in the front of a great teacher, and bowing deeply, they asked the question that had been burning inside them for so long: how do we become wise? There was a long pause until the teacher emerged from meditation, and finally the reply came: good choices. But teacher, how do we make good choices? From experience, responded the wise one. And how do we get experience? Bad choices, smiled the teacher.
Knew that was coming.
What are the choices we make in the world? What are the choices we do that we should not have done? What are the things that we know that we need to refrain from? I want to thank Megan, because every year I try to get the kids and the adults as well, my adult groups and kids in the school, to create a list for us, an alphabetical list, like the Ashamnu and the Al-Khait are, an alphabetical list of the mistakes we make, or the ways, we'll hear tomorrow, some of the ways that we can make the world better than it is today. So I give to you 26 ways we mess up the world. This is a combination of our 4th through 7th grade. Again, thank you, Megan, who reminded me I was going to do it. With everything that happened, we didn't have Sunday school, and she reminded me, hey, we haven't done it yet. So Wednesday night, we spent some time with our kids. And so this is their list of 26 ways, according to ABCs, right, that we mess up the world. Having a bad attitude, that's A. B, boasting and being a bully. C, acting crazy. And someone, I have to put this one, corrupting systems. I'm not sure what that one means, but it sounds very computer-like. D, discriminating and destroying forests. E, being evil, endangering animals or people. F, fighting. G, being greedy. H, hijacking cars.
Okay. Sure.
Or one maybe we can all relate to a little bit better than that one is being hateful. I, being ignorant. J, making jokes that hurt people and acting jealously. This is one for all you superheroes out here. K, I think this is very clever actually, using kryptonite. Oh, great, that was my kid. Thanks. Okay, I thought we were Marvel, not DC family. What happened with that? Kryptonite. Okay, never mind. L, we're moving on. L, being lazy and littering. M, being manipulative. That's a good one for our kids to figure that one out. That's a great one. N, being not nice. That's double word score. O, obliteration of nature. Pretty clever. That was yours? Really? Where'd you learn that word from? Oh my gosh, okay. Doing better than I thought. P, plagiarism. Q, oh, this is definitely a kid, giving pop quizzes. And being quirky. I like that one too. R, racism. S, being, and 2 groups said this one, being sassy. T, talking too much. There you go, guys. All of y'all and the little ones in the back. And actually, this is a good one for all of us American. Unnecessary taxes. Kids came up with that.
Kids?
U, being untrustworthy. V, being villain-like. W, acting wacko. X, which is always hard to do. There's 2 of them. being unextraordinary. I thought that was
Whoa.
clever. I've never had that one before. And then bad x-rays. Y, yelling too much. And Z, zooming into private discussions and being overzealous. Wisdom from our youngest set. Promise you, this was all from 4th through 7th grade. Keep their wisdom in mind as we turn to page 234, the paragraph leading up to our first, or second, I should say, confessional. The first one, of course, was in the silent Amida. Here we will now rise as we prepare to recite our communal confessional. We're on the bottom of 234, leading into 235.
Eloheinu v'Eloi avoteinu, tavo lefanecha tefilatenu, ve'al titalam mirchinatenu, she'en anachnu hazefanim ukshei oref, lemor levanecha. Adonai Eloheinu Eloi Avoteinu Tzadikim anachnu velo chatanu aval anachnu ve'avoteinu hatanu.
235.
Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu Dofi, Hevinu, Virshanu, Zadnu, Chamasnu, Safalnu, Sheker, Yatsnu Ra, Kizavnu, Latsnu, Meradnu, Niatsnu, Sararnu, Avinu, Pashanu, Sararnu, Kishinu Oref, Rashanu, Shechatnu, Tiavnu, Ta'inu, Titanu.
We turn on over to page 237 as we remain standing for our longer confession, our chet.
Al cheshchatan lefanecha be'ones uratzon, ve'al cheshchatan lefanecha b'imutz halev. אחרי שקרתה לפניך ביצר הרע, ואחרי שקרתה לפניך ביודעים ובלא יודעים, ויעל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו. אחרי שכתב לפניך בכחש וכזב, ואחרי שכתב לפניך בכפת שוחד. אחרי שכתב לפניך בעיניים רמות, ואחרי שכתב לפניך בעזות מצח, ויעל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו, kaper lanu.
We read,
Al cheshach atav
we read in the English on page 238, the second paragraph, responsively, we have sinned against you by throwing off all restraint. And we have sinned against you by rashly judging others. We have sinned against you by plotting against others. And we have sinned against you through selfishness. We have sinned against you through superficiality. And we have sinned against you through stubbornness. We have sinned against you by rushing to do evil. And we have sinned against you through gossip. We have sinned against you through empty promises. And we have sinned against you through baseless hatred. We have sinned against you by betraying trust. And we have sinned against you by succumbing to confession.
V'yal kulam Elohai salichot selach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu.
We turn over to page 245. As it is Shabbat, we do not do Avinu Malkeinu, our traditional hymn, for this period of time. Shabbat supersedes the recitation of Avinu Malkeinu, so we move to 245, where you'll find Kaddish Shalem.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, Amen. Ve'alemad ivrach irutei, ve'yamlich malchutei, Amen. V'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'yagala, uv'zman kariv v'yimaru, Amen, Amen. Yehi shemei Rabba mivorach, le'alamul al me'almaya, yitbarach. Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shemei dikudesh shabarichu, le'elal, ye'elem mikol birchata, v'shirata, tishbechata, v'nechemata, tamiran be'alma, v'yimaru, Amen. תתקבל צורנו ורונדך ישוקר ושמי וימרו.
Amen.
יהי שלום הרב שמי וחיים על הכוסו וימרו.
Amen.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל וימרו, וימרו, אמן. יעשה שלום. Shalom Aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom. Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimaru, Amen.
You are welcome to be seated. Sorry, I get to share a few words. We'll take a couple moments before we go into the very end of the service. So there is a familiar story from the Talmud of two great teachers, Hillel and Shammai, who lived in first century Jerusalem. One day, a stranger approaches Shammai and challenges him. He says, "Teach me the entire Torah while I stand on one foot." You've heard this story. Shammai takes a rod and smacks the stranger in the head, driving him away. The stranger then comes to Hillel, and he makes the same request. "Teach me the whole Torah while I stand on one foot." Hillel, showing kindness and patience with the stranger, replies, "That which is hateful to you, do not do to your fellow. That is the whole Torah. All the rest is commentary. Zeal Gemor. Now go and study." Now, who does tradition generally consider to be correct in his answer, Hillel or Shammai? Hillel. Right? Well, certainly it's better not to whack somebody in the head with a rod. Tradition generally asserts that Hillel's response to the stranger is the correct one. Hillel shows great sensitivity and openness to the man's questions, despite the stranger's challenging attitude. But I'd like tonight to suggest to you that although Hillel's answer was the most sensitive and respectful, Shammai's answer was indeed right. Consider the situation. A person comes to you and says, "Teach me the whole Torah. Teach me all of God's wisdom. Teach me all of your traditions, knowledge, customs, and beliefs. But give it to me quickly. Just give me some statement of its essence." Put in this way, the stranger's request indeed warrant maybe a harsh response. His question suggests that there is an easy black and white answer, that the Torah can be reduced to one simple rule, that all of Jewish tradition can be understood and lived through one truth. We know that it is not as simple as Hillel's response suggests. To live as a Jew is to refuse to accept truth as simple or easily obtained, and in particular to live as a conservative Jew who has a wide spectrum to look at, certainly understands this. To live as a Jew is to experience struggle, tension, and paradox. To live as a Jew means realizing that religion does not offer an easy answer to life. If you try to reduce all of Judaism to one perspective, one principle or thought, if you try to learn the entire Torah while standing on one foot, what's going to happen? You're likely going to fall over. I know you're thinking, Shema. Yes, Shema is a statement, but that in and of itself is not just one perspective in terms of, or one principle. It's an important one, but it's not the only one. Consider the story of Rabbi Naphtali, who told his Hasidim that before he was born, an angel appeared and showed him a tablet divided into two columns. On the right side, this way, on the right side, for you, the Talmud, Ta'anit, quoted, "The learned person should be a fiery flame." And on the left side, it quoted Talmud Sanhedrin, "The meek and the lowly shall inherit the world to come." On the right side, from Talmud Brachot, "A person should be wise in his or her fear of God." And on the left side, from Midrash Yalkut, "You shall be simple-hearted before Adonai." On the right side, from Midrash Ta'anit, "Be satisfied with the minimum." And on the left side, from Midrash Ta'anit, "One who pledges not to drink wine and forswears the pleasures of the body shall be called a sinner." The rabbi pondered the contradictions until he heard the voice of the angels announcing to him, "You are now to be born." Whereupon the rabbi resolved in his heart to follow the rules of both columns, no matter the contradictions. To be Jewish means to follow both columns on the tablet of stone, to live life's contradictions. It means to live with the tension and even the ambivalence, and most of all, to live with paradox. This is Jewish thinking. The rabbis of the Talmud illustrate this idea further in their concept of the existence of the human being. You might have heard this source. Every human being must keep two slips of paper in his or her pockets. And in one pocket is written,